That's what we do.
Hello mate, are you alright?
I'm very well. Well, who are you first?
I don't need to tell you that right now.
Well, I don't need to tell you anything.
Right, okay. What's his name, please? What are you doing, mate?
Well, first of all, who are you, please?
I'm a police officer.
Okay.
Okay.
It's just to be left.
To be left,
Yeah.
not see our code to the
No,
gate.
he's not meant to be filming your own cars, no.
Okay. So if you could just step away while we just put
Well,
the
no,
codes
I'm
into
on
the gate,
public
that would be
property.
great.
Well, it's down to you to cover it up, not me.
Okay, that's
down to you to
absolutely
cover it
fine.
up.
I'll stand here while you guys go in then. I'm not letting you see the code to my gate, to the gate,
Well,
alright?
it's down to you to cover it up.
Alright, fine.
Don't put your hand in my face.
didn't
Okay.
see it.
And as I said, as a police
I did to the
officer, as I said, you should be identifying yourself, which you failed to do so.
Okay.
Right now,
Okay. I've asked you to identify yourself, and yet you still haven't.
Okay, I'm a police
Thank you very
officer,
much.
okay? So I'm going to go
Thank you
into
very
my
much.
work.
That's fine. Go
Okay.
into your work.
Alright.
Okay. And as I said, you failed to identify yourself,
I
madam.
haven't failed to do anything.
Yes, you
right
did.
now.
I asked you to identify yourself, and
No,
you
I
failed to
said
do
I didn't
so.
want to do it
Good
right
afternoon,
there
sir.
and
How are you?
Hello, yeah, you're alright.
Not bad, sir.
Right. You're allowed to stand
Would you
in
mind,
public.
would you
No,
mind just
listen.
identifying
No.
yourself?
No, I don't have to.
Okay, you don't
Right,
have to. Well, it's in your
you're on
code of
pub-
practice, sir,
Listen.
and you should be
Okay, just
identifying
listen. Well, you
yourself.
can
I don't have
identify
to
me,
listen
it's
to
there.
anything, sir.
Right, you're on
And your
public
number
property, that's
2456.
But you
okay,
can't be recording
failed to
the code.
identify.
You can't
Well, it's
be
down to you
recording
to
the
cover
code.
it up. It's down to you to
Oh,
cover it up.
well.
I can film whatever I wish in public. Okay.
Yeah, so if we get details.
Alright, folks, buckle up. This is a classic clash between public accountability and police procedure. Right at the gates of Pewden Police Station, an auditor calmly filming public property immediately faces officers who refuse to identify themselves, a fundamental breach of the police code of ethics. From hand gestures blocking lawful filming to contradictory claims about legality, this case exposes the friction between officers and public oversight. Stay tuned, because what happens next not only challenges policing standards, it also reveals why transparency isn't optional. It's required.
And I'm doing completely lawful activities.
I never said you weren't.
And you actually failed to identify
I don't have to
yourself.
identify myself.
Yes, you do. It's
No,
in your
I
code
don't.
of practice,
No, I
sir.
don't.
It's in your code of practice, and you failed to do so.
Agrees why filming officers at the front gate, sir?
I'm doing illegal activity, sir.
Wait, you're trying to film officers putting
No,
their
I'm
PIN
not.
codes
They're
in,
going
sir.
in. It's down to you to cover it up, not me, sir.
Yeah, we've got us on the late, so we haven't got any PPE,
Okay.
much PPE
And
with us,
officer
but,
SN
move on, sir.
2129.
What's your details, sir?
It doesn't matter what my details
What's your details, sir?
Okay, SN
What is your details, sir?
2175. Why would you require my
we-
details
At the
we
for?
can
moment,
ask
it's
anybody.
suspicious activity outside the police station,
Really?
sir, yeah.
What, a perfectly lawful activity?
Well, and what is that activity, sir?
Photography in public is perfectly lawful, sir.
So why are you filming officers putting their codes into
Well, no,
the
it's down
gate?
to you to cover it up. I'm here filming everything that I can see, sir.
You're just trying to be awkward, aren't you?
Why? We're asking
You're
why,
quite
sir.
arrogant, really,
I'm
aren't
not,
you, sir?
I'm not,
Yes,
sir.
you are. So you're coming up and you're disturbing me, okay, for doing a completely lawful activity.
You're disturbing
As you
us.
No, as you said when you were standing there, okay, I should have been left alone, and that was what exactly you guys decided
Yeah, but
to
then-
say
but
when
then
you were
you were
outside
filming
on
the codes of our
No,
officers
no.
coming in.
Your officer made a point of pointing out the code, and as I said to her, okay, it is down to her to cover it up herself.
It's not.
Yes,
you
it is,
You
sir.
shouldn't be filming it.
It is, sir.
It's not. It's not.
Yes,
you
it
obviously
is,
don't,
sir.
You don't know the law, sir, because you
Do
should
I
not
not?
be.
Do
you
I
should
not?
be
Well,
filming
you
it.
failed to identify
I don't
yourself.
have to.
Yes, you do, sir.
I don't.
Yes, you do, and
If
you're
you
an
can read, sir,
embarrassment.
It's got shoulder numbers and a name badge on it.
Yeah,
If you
but
can
not
read,
everybody
sir.
can, sir.
Also,
okay? It's
if
in
you
your
see
code
on
of
there-
practice to actually identify with three forms of
You don't tell me how to do my
identification.
job, sir.
Okay,
Also, it
well,
says a sign on-
Here's the first red flag. Officers asking the auditor to cover up codes and refusing to identify themselves. Legally, officers must give their details when asked. It's in the code of practice. Yet, we see a power play, trying to intimidate someone performing a lawful act on public property. Notice the escalation. Hand in the face, repeated demands to stop filming. All while the auditor remains calm and grounded in legal rights. Question for you watching. At what point would you have intervened? And how would you respond to such procedural failure?
You just doing this to get likes on YouTube, I take
I don't
it, yeah?
need any lights for anything. Okay?
You got a YouTube channel?
It makes no difference.
Yeah, he does.
I'm asking, like, do you do it across the Met? Do you do it across the country? What is it? Do you do different?
I do a lot of photography in public, and most of all as well, sir. Okay, you turn your body camera on, and you should actually have informed me at the first possible.
No, first possible point, but I'm asking
Yep.
you first.
Okay, and 1101. Okay, so failed once again.
Because you're allowed to lawfully film, okay?
I know I am. So I should have just been left alone.
You're filming other people's codes, but we'll leave you to it.
Well, no. If you can't cover them up, then that is your problem, sir, not mine. That is your problem.
That's the risk to security, isn't it?
Well, then cover the number up, sir.
You don't have to though. It's a
Okay.
police station.
Am I standing on public ground, sir? Am I standing on public ground? So you won't answer the question because you know I'm perfectly right, sir.
On YouTube later.
Okay? You know I'm perfectly right, and you're the one that's in the wrong, sir. If you can't cover up the code, then it's your problem. It is not mine, sir. Okay, so there you have that PC there that decided that he didn't want to identify himself and trying to say that I'm trying to do this, I'm trying to do that. But as you've seen, guys, as I said, I come down to actually speak about 2 officers, okay, that have been suspended for assault and battery. And now you can actually see why, to do with the arrogance of these two, and then the one that actually went in, okay, that had his body camera on. And you can see why that Croydon actually has a name when you look at these officers that are here.
Now this is where clarity is key. PC 2456 claims filming gate codes is illegal, but legally, anything visible from public space is fair game. Officers are responsible for security, not for controlling lawful public filming. This misunderstanding is more than just arrogance. It's a breakdown in training. And it's not just a technicality. The law is designed to protect both public transparency and officer safety. So, when an officer fails to follow their own code, the tension isn't just dramatic. It's legally significant.
Yeah, what a joke this is. So, an absolute joke. So, and you can see there. Okay, so that was the officer there that asked me, that turned his body camera on. Didn't want to say that he turned it on, but it was on.
But he's allowed to film.
I know he is, but he should have actually have informed me. And yes, he does. That is part of your code of practice. See, that tells you where you are far wrong. Okay.
Proportionate to tell you, okay, when I have
Okay.
the best opportunity, so I don't
Correct.
just activate it.
Correct, and which you did when I pointed it out. You did
I wasn't
actually say it.
able to.
Yep, and then you did actually point it out, and that's what I just said.
Yeah.
Okay, which is perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Okay, and this officer, okay, behind you, said that you don't. Okay, it's in your code of practice that you do at the first possible opportunity, and that is exactly what you just done. Now you just confirmed that, and he's standing behind you, still shaking his
At the
head,
end of the day.
and that's why there's a problem.
Okay, at the end of the day, the matter's squashed, okay?
Okay,
I've
yep.
told you it was on
Okay.
when the most reason, the most proportionate
Yeah,
time.
yeah, which is perfectly fine. Which is perfectly fine.
All we're asking, essentially, is just obviously whether you're not, whether you are filming officers, just because there's obviously safety around the building, safety around other officers, and obviously that's sort of national, that's a threat to the building, a threat to officers. All right, so all we're asking, you can film, you're allowed to film, you have the right to film in public.
Yep.
Obviously, just don't film officers' codes, whether you are or not. Obviously, don't know, but where from the angle you're standing and obviously raising the camera, how it looks to us.
Well, I raised it purely because he tried to actually block me when I didn't need
Fine,
to be
Because you
blocked.
told me that officers
Okay.
should block their codes.
And
So I
that
did.
is what they should be doing.
so I did.
Okay? That is exactly what they should be doing.
This is private
This
property.
is public
so
property.
up to the line with the pavement, this is
Okay.
property of the
Can you show me where the
Metropolitan
signs are then, please, sir? If there's no signs, it's public property, it's all part of the pavement. Okay,
This is
right
the
the
part
way,
of the pavement,
right
this
the
is
way
the
up
police
until that gate is fully publicly accessible
No,
under
I'm
section
afraid-
33 of the Criminal Justice Act of
afraid
1972. Okay, I'm allowed to lawfully go. Okay, where it's publicly accessible.
Okay, so if,
there are
if
no
my,
signs
if my
saying
front
private
garden
property.
was publicly accessible, would you be in my front garden?
A private garden is
Yeah.
completely different to public property.
But you said a place at which public have
Okay.
the access to.
They
so,
don't have
So I have
a
access to
garden.
all those people's front gardens, but
Do
I
the
don't go
public
there
pay
'cause
for your
it's-
garden? Do the public pay for your garden?
No, of course they don't.
Do they pay for this building? Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that doesn't mean you have right to access to it.
Under section 33 of the Criminal Justice Act
Right.
of 1972, okay,
What I'm
I
saying
have the
to you-
right to actually be where it's publicly accessible. There
Yep.
are no signs there, okay, saying private property.
Okay, but I'm now
and
informing
that
you-
what makes it perfectly lawful
I'm
for
now
me to be here.
informing you that this is all the way up to where the change in the tarmac is private
Okay.
property. It's property of the
Right.
Metropolitan Police
Do you want to
Service.
walk over there and show me the signs?
There are no signs.
Well,
but
then I'm
now
perfectly in my
telling you-
lawful right then, sir.
No, you're not.
Yes, I am.
Because I'm now telling you you're on private property and that you're trespassing, and I would like you to move back
Trespass
to
is
the
a
pavement.
civil matter.
Okay, not in a
Trespass
police
is a
station. It's
civil
not. There's a
matter.
specific offence causing a disturbance
What's
on
that
police
then,
premises.
sir? Can you tell me what that law
I
is?
can tell you the legislation if
Please
you like.
do, sir. Please do.
But it is an offence.
No, please do.
And I'd like you to move back to the
No,
pavement.
no.
That's all.
Well, once you don't tell me that,
film.
once you don't tell me that, sir, then it's fine.
Yeah, of course, mate.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Once you tell me that, then no worries. Take care. Okay. Once you don't tell me that, I have.
This is a textbook moment on property law and public access. The auditor cites Section 33 of the Criminal Justice Act 1972. Publicly accessible areas remain lawful to film unless signage indicates otherwise. Yet PC Evans claims private property without proof. This misalignment highlights a recurring issue: officers misunderstanding the law they enforce. It's a classic example of how legal knowledge gaps escalate minor situations into high-drama confrontations. Viewer poll: would you have argued the public right of access as confidently?
This is an Immigration Act 2008.
Which is what?
Causing a disturbance in a police premises.
Could you show me that, please, sir?
Well, you can Google it yourself.
No,
on
no.
your phone.
Could
I've
you
just
show me
told
that
you.
then, sir?
Well, I don't need to show you.
Well,
I've just told
causing
you.
a disturbance. What disturbance is that?
So you're trying to film officers putting their codes into the gate. Obviously, that's caused a bit of a disturbance because of the fact that half a dozen police officers are out here having to talk to you, aren't they?
Well, they even said on the other side of the gate that I should have been left alone.
Who said that?
Okay, those actual officers in uniform walking that way. I have it on film.
Okay, well, they've requested us to come here and assist them because obviously we've got protective equipment on and they don't. So I don't know why they would say that you're not doing anything wrong but then ask officers to come and help them.
Because, number one, they were trying to stop me doing a completely lawful activity, sir.
Okay.
All right, and I only came down here for one reason.
Yeah.
Okay, at this moment in time, you've got 2 officers on suspension.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, for assault and battery.
Right, okay.
Okay, and I just wanted to actually see whether or not, okay, anyone actually had a view or an opinion on whether or not they.
Well, you know
believe
you're
that
not
is
going to
right.
get a view or opinion from us, are you?
Well, you never
'Cause
know.
We will always direct you to the press office. Oh, well, you've lost your driver's license.
And that's all what it is.
Yeah.
And all what I come down to do, okay, is literally there is a divide between the public and the police. At
Yeah,
this moment
I get
in time, and it shouldn't be there.
No, I
okay?
agree.
All interactions like this isn't about showing bad things, but it's about showing good officers and what they do. And it's often, more often than not, it's good officers.
Yeah.
Okay, they get overlooked because of something bad that a bad officer does.
And
it's a really, really sad thing.
I would tend to agree with you with that. It's not just police officers, it's every job. In every job, there will always be one person or a small group of people who do something that other people don't agree with, and then everybody gets dragged through the mud.
Yep.
And it's the same with people like yourselves. Not everybody who comes and films outside a police station is here to cause problems. Some of them, as you say, you're just trying to hold.
Check this out. The logic here is almost dizzying. PC Evans cites Section 119 for causing a disturbance, claiming the auditor filming is disruptive. Yet he admits the auditor should have been left alone. So, responding to lawful activity creates the disturbance. That's circular reasoning at its finest. This raises a critical question about proportionality in policing. Are officers escalating incidents simply because they misunderstand public rights? Comment below. How would you define a proportionate response in this scenario?
Film from there.
And if you're happy just with me just asking you a couple of questions, then I'm all good, and then I'll go.
You can ask me, but I'm not sure whether I'll answer them. Depends on what they
That's
are.
fine. Well, I've just asked you that question,
go on
okay,
then.
which is fine, okay? Now, I don't know how long you've been in the job for, okay?
Quite a while.
Right, so longer than 5 years?
Yeah, longer than 5
Okay,
years.
so longer than 5 years.
8 years I've been at
Okay, so
PC.
8 years, okay? And do you mind if I ask you as well? If you've been in the job for long or not?
You don't need to know that information.
No, that's fair enough. That's what I'd ask you. It's down to you whether or not you want to answer or not, okay? But when you actually look, when you think about now, I can see that you're not what I would class in their early 20s, okay?
Thanks.
No. If you've been in the
I know
job
what
for
you
8
mean.
years, if you've been in the job for 8 years, that then sort of says that you're sort of mid to maybe late 20s.
Yeah.
Okay? So when you actually look, when you think back to when you were younger and you think about old school police on the beat,
Yeah.
right? And you think about the way that they used to be walking around, okay, interacting with local communities where when we used to have what they class as home beat officers.
Yeah.
Do you remember them?
Yeah.
Okay, and you think about the way that home beat officers knew every single kid and everything that was where they lived.
Yeah.
Now, when you look at the way that old school policing was done, and you look at modern policing, when you look at the way that it's done, where it's predominantly in cars, where a lot of police stations have been shut down, you got these phones where people are shut away and everything's being done online and so on and so forth, right? If there was the opportunity for it to potentially go back to where home beat officers and so on were brought back in? Would that something that, as you, okay, would you welcome home beat officers back?
I mean,
where they're engaging with local communities.
The thing is, it's a difficult question because, as you say, ultimately the main thing that police officers lack these days is that sort of community relationship and engagement. Personally, I think the Met try really hard to engage with different communities, but the reality is, I mean, I'm not old enough to remember home beat officers. I know what they are. They're now safer neighbourhoods officers.
Finally, we pivot from confrontation to dialogue. The discussion moves to community policing, the classic debate. Old school home beat officers versus modern, car-based, tech-driven policing. PC Evans acknowledges gaps in public engagement and admits even good intentions can fail without proper interaction. This moment is crucial. It demonstrates that calm, professional engagement can diffuse tension and build accountability, exactly what was missing in the initial encounter. Take note. Public trust often hinges on communication, not confrontation.
The public on our side, it makes our lives an awful lot easier, and it makes everybody safer. But the world is a very different place to what it was all those years ago.
Yeah, no, agreed.
So, in answer to your question, it would be nice to have better community engagement and better community relations, but whether home beat officers are the answer or whether something else more modern is the answer to that, I don't know. I don't get paid enough for that.
No, that's fair enough. See, this was the main reason, as exactly what you said, okay? It's still members of the public, okay, that have the right to actually come down and actually engage. And as you can see, now the way that I'm talking to you now is the way that I wanted that first engagement, okay? But then the way that we are
also members of the public.
Yeah, correct. But this is... When I was first here, okay, the officers that were in uniform, okay, sort of waved at me and they were down the end, okay, on their break, okay, there was one or two of them sort of having fun, okay, and that's them, they were on their break, fine, okay, and then it was only then when plain clothes came in, okay, that things then actually got a bit out of hand, right, and then the officers then that were down there, especially one of them, okay, came out with a real problem, and you can see, as soon as you came along and we were talking, this is how all interaction should be, this is how interaction should be, right? And this is what we need to show members of the public, okay, is it's these interactions and what's happening now. And exactly what you said, this is the information that the public need to actually know, okay, that there are officers out there, okay, that do support different things coming in, okay. Things have changed a lot over the years, but things will also carry on and change in future years.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, and this is what we're trying to make, is we're trying to make the change for things to work in the future. They're not going to happen overnight.
No, of course
not. Okay, but we need to make sure that what happens... but we know that that's not going to happen. Okay, and this is why we need to actually work together. Okay, build it together. Right, and actually move forward together. Without doing that, okay, the system's going to fail.
No, I get that. But so just to give you, from our point of view, I don't know whether you've got any policing background or anybody in your family, but again, something that's sort of become more of an issue in the last sort of 10, 15 years is that police officers, we become targets. So there are groups out there and people out there who want to cause us harm, want to kill us. I'm sure you're aware less than a year ago, Sergeant Ratana was shot at Croydon Custody just up the road. Very tragic for all of us involved. He was one of us, he was a member of the public, he was a member of the community, just like everybody else. So I think the issue is when someone like yourself comes up to a police station, phone in hand, getting right up to the gate, filming people's registrations and stuff, it does make some officers nervous.
What does the registration have to do with it?
Because that's a way of identifying people.
Okay, well, the public don't have access to the DVLA information.
They don't, but they have access to a lot more than, again, the advancements of technology. People have access to a lot more than they used to 10, 20 years ago. It used to just be the police and the DVLA, but there are websites. I can't remember the exact term you use. You're a freedom something?
No, I'm not a freedom anything.
No, what do you class yourself as?
I will actually give you the actual memo. Now, this is from the IOPCC, and this is what went out to every single police station. Yeah, please do.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Auditor, that was what I was thinking of.
So you know exactly what it is.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, that is exactly what it is. But also as well, even when you then even look under the actual Terrorism Act, there's a whole section in there that a lot of people then actually skip over, right? And people then are abused under Section 43, okay, and 47A, right? and it takes the senior officer to actually bring in 47A. You can't just actually
Absolutely,
impose it.
yeah. So 43 can be used by any officer, but 47A has to be
But then
authorised
don't
by
forget
47A.
section 43, okay, has to be used with reasonable suspicion.
Yep.
And there is a whole section in 43 that says about photography.
Yeah.
Right? And that is often looked over, and it clearly states that people have the right to actually film the police and police buildings, and they should be left alone to do so.
To a certain extent, yes. So I'm not accusing you of being a terrorist. I've not detained you under the Terrorism Act because, as I say, I'm aware of auditors and bloggers, and I'm aware of what it is that you do and what it is that you're trying to achieve.
Here's where things get interesting. PC Evans addresses officer safety, hostile reconnaissance, and the potential misuse of the Terrorism Act, while affirming the auditor's legal rights. The IOPC memo he references protects auditors, yet colleagues remain unclear. This scene highlights a delicate balance, ensuring security while respecting lawful public oversight. Note the nuance. Section 43 requires reasonable suspicion, and Section 47A requires senior officer authorization. It's a reminder that policing isn't just about power. It's about procedure and proportionality.
Your intentions are, and so there's no issue. So now we're having a conversation like human beings.
Yep.
But I can't tell that from all the way over there or from in my car down the road, can I? So without stopping and engaging with you, some officers might assume, because here's the common question we get asked it all the time: what does a terrorist look like? They could
No
look
one
like
knows.
anything.
Correct.
Exactly, they could
No
look
one
like
knows.
anything.
Yep.
So until we actually stop and speak to you and find out what it is that you're here for, we don't know whether you filming people's license plates and the code box to the gate is purely coincidental because you just happen to be filming the whole of the backdrop of the police station, or whether it's because you're trying to find out personal information about officers because you're conducting hostile reconnaissance.
Okay,
you see what I mean?
Yeah, but first of all, okay, regarding the code, it's down to each and every individual, okay, to shield their own code, okay? If they were that convinced, it's like where you actually take that code reader just there, okay, they should have put a cover over it, okay, so people can't
I think
see.
there was a cover over it a long time ago.
Okay, but then that is your fault, it's not down to me. And then when you actually talk about license plates, okay, the DVLA actually own the rights to those.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, and what I'm doing, okay, is, as you can see, there's only police cars in there, okay, and that's what I was filming. And exactly what you done. Now, the big issue was, right, is when you look at yourself, okay, as soon as you actually came out, right, you walked around the back of me, you walked in front of me, okay, you said whatever you did to that other officer, and then you walked towards me, and the first thing you done, okay, when I asked you, is I asked you to identify yourself, which you done perfectly, okay, and was absolutely bang on, okay, and there was no faults within that whatsoever. When you look at two of those other officers that came out, right, one of them came up, put their hand straight in my face, okay. I asked two of them, okay, two females that were going in to identify. They failed to do so at first. Okay, then one identified. And then two that were in uniform, I asked to identify, and they failed and said that it's not in their code of practice, which it well and truly is in your code of practice, to actually identify. Now, exactly what you've done, as I said, I can't fault you whatsoever. And as I said, the questions that I wanted to ask is exactly what you've just answered, okay? And it's been good to actually engage, and it's been good to talk.
I think it's been quite positive. But I can't account for other officers' actions. The only caveat I would say is, again, going back to that whole hostile reconnaissance in Section 43 of the Terrorism Act, there's a clause in there that we don't have to identify ourselves by name to people that we suspect to be involved in terrorism. And again, not saying you are one of those people, but until we engage with you and find out what it is your intentions are, they don't have to identify themselves by name. But obviously our shoulder numbers are always clearly visible.
But then if you just clearly walk straight up to me, okay, and don't try and engage, okay, and actually identify yourself, and you come straight up to me, okay, and you say under Section 43, then that's not trying to talk to me, okay, that's somebody that's already preempted what they're going to do even before they get to me, okay. So when you then look at that, okay, that one then falls on its arse, okay, so to speak. That's the whole point. If you actually want to engage, exactly what we done. Now, as soon as you came over to me, it stayed at this tone, okay, we've had a nice conversation, and this is how it should be. And that's how it would have been with those other officers, okay. And this is where it all comes down to how somebody meets members of the public. It's like the first thing that you done, okay, not or anything like that. As soon as you walked towards me, you went, "Afternoon, sir." Okay, which is the correct way of approaching somebody. And as you've seen, that's how I speak to you. I've called you sir, okay? And that's the way that I was always brought up, okay, was to actually respect something. And this is how it should be. This is exactly how it should be. So when I look at this, okay, apart from that first part, right, that first part was really quite bad, but then when I look at this whole second part, it's been a really positive talk,
Well, I
and that's how it should be. And that is how it should be.
I can't account for my colleagues and their actions and their behaviours. We're all responsible for our own individual actions and behaviours. But as I say, the way I dealt with you was initially I was told to come and assist because those officers weren't in full PPE because, as you say, they were on their break. But we've come to assist us. We've got a full protective equipment on and we're actually on duty. And initially, my approach was a little bit up here because I was told you were close to the gate trying to film people's pins and stuff like that, which is why I've asked you to move back a little bit. But since then, we've been fine and we've had a perfectly good conversation like adults. No issue with
and that is exactly how all interaction should be, as I said.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. My only request would be, I would ask you not to try and film licence plates of, you say unmarked cars.
Right, I will actually stop you there. I will actually stop you there, okay? Whatever, if a car comes out, okay, I want to get police cars, and that's exactly what I want to do.
But not all unmarked cars are police cars.
Let me just say something, okay? But if a car was to actually be caught on film, okay, I'm doing nothing wrong, I'm doing nothing unlawful, okay, and I'm breaking no laws whatsoever.
No, you're not. I agree with you. That's what I'm saying. This whole community engagement is a little bit of give and take. It's purely a request on my part. I can't make you stop. But some of these cars that you were filming are private vehicles, not police vehicles.
Well, I was actually filming the actual vehicles in there when I was actually approached.
So you were filming all the marked cars.
Okay, yes, I was. That's what actually happened.
Right. Okay.
Okay, is I was actually filming those in there.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, I'm not bothered about people's personal cars. Okay,
that's fine. If you're not bothered by it, then that's good.
I really don't care because the public don't pay for those. Okay, what the public pay for is all those marked vehicles, okay, and so on.
And the building, the upkeep, all that sort of
and
stuff. And our uniform and our wages and all sorts.
In summary, this case at Cuden Police Station showcases both failures and successes in modern policing. Officers initially failed to identify themselves, escalated minor interactions, and misapplied laws. Yet, through calm, informed engagement, the auditor clarified public rights, highlighted ethical obligations, and demonstrated accountability in action. Key takeaways: always know your legal rights, officers must follow codes of practice, and dialogue beats confrontation. If you found this case as shocking as we did, make sure to hit that like button, share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more